here he is, the phenom, Tom Pagliarulo, back on the show after another big win, this time at Combat Zone 78, a round one TKO victory over Lionel Young. Tom, how you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm good. Before we dive into your career and another big win at your buddy Calvin Cater's promotion, first I want to ask how Thanksgiving was. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family. I know it was yesterday. Hopefully you got a chance to dig in and get some good food in your belly.
Oh yeah, there's nothing better than getting a win right before Thanksgiving, man. Did some good eating yesterday. Spent some time with family. It's when you're in camp, you don't get to do much of that, so it's nice to kind of settle down a little bit and spend some quality time with the fam.
Absolutely. What do you think the weight is right now after, I guess, gorging a little bit yesterday?
High enough, high enough.
Okay, fair enough. Well, what's like the go-to for you? I know my mother, she makes like this graham cracker pie that it's just to die for. I only have it twice a year, Thanksgiving and Christmas. So what is it for you that you really look forward to as far as eating goes?
I love stuffing, man. That's my Thanksgiving food. My mom makes an incredible stuffing. She worked this year, so I didn't get her stuffing, but my aunt still made a great family recipe for the stuffing. But that's always my go-to.
Okay, very good. Well, I hope you had a good, relaxing day with the family. Man, another big win for you. I think this one in particular over Lionel Young, just because of how much experience he has, it has to probably be the best or most significant win of your pro career so far. Would you agree?
Yeah, it was an important one. And they called us with that name, and people kind of look at records a little bit too much. I think on the regional scene, records can be deceiving on the regional scene. You got a guy like him; he's got 11 pro wins. He's got more wins than I have fights in my career. But he's got those 18 losses. So it was like people look at the paper and they go, "Oh, this is kind of like a cakewalk," but it's really not, man. I was treating him like he was the best in the world. You look at who those losses are. It's Rob Fonts, it's the Lucas Cruzes, he's given resistance to these guys. You know what I mean? So I took that fight very seriously, and I think I passed the test.
What does this win signify for you? I mean, we talked a little bit before we started the interview. You're 5-1 now as a pro. It kind of seems like maybe another win or two, and you might be knocking on the door to contender series. Does that sound fair?
Yeah, I think it's reasonable, man. I you know me, I like to stay busy. I try and stay ready for any of these opportunities. So I think a win over a guy like him shows I have the skills to beat these high level guys, these vets, and like you said, another win or two, and we'll see what happens. I know shit. Even right now, man, you never know what could happen. Guys get hurt on cars. They need to fill these spots on the prelims and stuff. So I'm staying ready for anything, man. I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing, and good things will happen.
Well, what was the game plan going in here against Lionel?
Yeah, so I got to give credit to my striking coach Jake Manini. We got the fight when we were actually out in Vegas for Calvin's fight. We were out there for 10 days, so we got to work right away, and it was pretty much just keeping him staying long, keeping him at the end of my jab, and we were gonna get to that body. So it was kind of those inside leg kicks and those front kicks to the body. And we knew he likes to wrestle normally in his fights. I thought he was gonna shoot a little more. But I knew he either covers up. He doesn't like to get hit. I knew when I put my hands on him, he was going to cover up like that, and we were going to find that knee up the middle, whether it would be him shooting into it or him covering up and me finding it. So I think that's the first time a fight's gone exactly to plan. It's kind of nice to see it all work out. But that's just my coach Jake being that good and preparing me to do what I need to do.
And I talked a little bit with Greg Williams, who is one of the commentators there on the card, along with Rob Font, someone you know pretty well. And he was
Yeah.
telling me that you took him down, you landed a big kick, and you landed a flurry of punches. Then you spent over a minute on top before ultimately getting the finish. Do you feel like the finish could have been stopped a little bit sooner, or do you feel like it was an accurate, good stoppage?
It was strange. I thought in the moment I thought it was a weird stoppage. I put him down with a knee and I split him open pretty good, and I think that kind of made him panic a little bit. And I was landing some shots on top. I landed a good flurry. Nothing where like I think, oh, this is a late stoppage. Why isn't the ref stopping it? And I was able to get my hooks in and flatten him out. And I'm hitting him, and then I stopped to adjust, and that's when the ref stepped in. So I remember thinking, huh, that was kind of like if you were gonna stop it, I think there were times before it would have looked better to stop it,
Yeah.
or you could have let him keep going. But I don't know, man. Kevin McDonald was the ref in there. He's the best around. I always feel safe when he's in the cage. He knows what he's doing. I don't think it was going anywhere else. I don't think like I could feel it. I know what I'm feeling when a guy's kind of giving that resistance, and I wasn't feeling that. I was feeling a guy breaking underneath me. So, um, they got to look out for our health and safety. So I think it's a good stoppage, but Yeah, it is what it is. I'll take it.
Hey, a win is a win. That's all that matters. You go in there, you get your hand raised. I have to imagine that, fighting for Calvin's promotion, Combat Zone. That's got to be a great thing for you. It's close to where you live. This is a close friend and training partner of yours that owns the promotion. What was it like this time? Just the venue, the fans, just the energy in the arena.
It was good, man. It's tough. That was my first main event as a pro, and it's kind of that was a long card, man. There's 22 fights on that card, and it was a marathon. Being in that back room felt like forever. I actually was up in my hotel room, laying in the bed, like while the fights are going on, watching The Office, just trying to keep myself busy because I was falling asleep. But it was good. Crowd was loud. I always sell a good amount of tickets when I fight in Manchester. It's kind of like my home venue. You know what I mean? People come to Combat Zone to see me fight and put on a show. So that's what we did, and it's always fun fighting for them.
Is that the hardest part? Like before you fight, just trying to like stay mentally poised and calm before you actually make the walk and get in there and do your thing?
Yeah, 100%, man. I'm always brutally honest. Like, I think guys try and play that tough guy role where like, I don't get nervous, I don't get scared, man. I'm terrified back there every time. I'm a competitor. I like to compete. Once I'm in that cage and that door shuts, I feel right at home. But man, all that build up before you, what if he does this? What if he does that? All the thoughts are going through your head, man. Like, I'm fighting this guy with 30 fights. Like, am I this good? Like, can I hang with the guy like that? So you got all those little negative voices going in your head, but I try and just say the positive reinforcements to myself and kind of put stock in that bank account, that positive bank account. I'm faster, I'm better, I got a better game plan, playing that game and then just doing what I do when I get in there, man. But yeah, that's the hard part is all that shit before.
Yeah, and geez, I can't even imagine what it would be like for you to just go to practice, right? To go to train with Calvin and Rob. I mean, I would be even more nervous to get ready to go to train with those guys than to come down for a fight, right?
It's crazy, man. Like you get used to it. You know what I mean? You're around these guys so much that's my normal now. So I actually this camp spent some time when we were in Vegas at Extreme Couture. So I think that helped a lot. Just completely new bodies, these high level UFC guys. I got work with Dan Ige, Patchy Mix. He's a high ranked Bellator guy. I think he's number 2 in the world over there. All kinds of guys from the UFC, Boston Salmon, and I got just high level rounds with them. I remember just thinking to myself, all right, like I'm not fighting this guy and I'm doing this well. Like I can hang with the guy I'm fighting. You know what I mean? Just kind of build that confidence up. So I think I'm gonna try and do more of that, kind of travel a little more to these different gyms and get some high level looks from fresh bodies that I'm not used to. Cause I think it's good to be uncomfortable. You know what I mean? You gotta get used to being uncomfortable and that's what we did this camp.
How did that come about going to Extreme Couture? Did Tyson set that up? Or I mean, I know you guys are in Vegas a lot, Calvin and Rob fighting all the time, but just tell me how that came about.
Yeah, so I've kind of met Coach Eric every time we go out to Vegas. We kind of see him, we link up. Tyson's real close with him, so anytime we're out there, he tries to set some stuff up for us. So yeah, he hit him up and just asked if I could come by the gym and go to all their pro sessions. So that's kind of what we did. Coach Giffey's out there too. He's a great boxing coach, so they kind of took care of me out there, watched over me. You know what I mean? It can be tricky in those big gyms. You kind of get thrown to the wolves, and you don't want to get hurt out there and stuff. So I had some good people watching over me out there. So yeah, shout out to Tyson for making that happen and Coach Eric.
Yeah. Was Sean Strickland around? You get a chance to do any sparring with him?
Yeah, Strickland's always around doing his thing in there, man. He's a character. I didn't move around with him. Tried to stick with the guys closer to my size, but yeah, he was doing his thing. He looked sharp.
Yeah, I think that would be like obviously if I was in your shoes and I fought at a higher weight class, that would probably be the guy that I would just stay the hell away from as far as sparring goes. I think that's safe to say. Would you agree?
Yeah, I can agree with that, man. He's definitely likes to get after it. Him and Chris Curtis. I got some actually some lighter rounds with Chris Curtis, some warm up rounds with him, and you can just feel it, man. These big guys, it's like, all right, he's going light on me. We're warming up, and it's still like, guy kicks my arms, I go fucking flying across the room. So definitely safe to stick with guys your size.
Yeah, makes sense. Well, have you had a chance to watch your fight back? I'm just curious because I know Greg Williams is a close friend of mine. He does the commentary for NEF. He was doing the show here again, and Rob Font, he was doing some commentating as well. So I'm just curious your feedback on how they did.
Good, man. Yeah, I actually just watched it for the first time, the commentary and everything this morning, in preparation for this. So, yeah, I think it was good, man. It's a tough job, that commentary stuff. You know what I mean? You're trying to say the right things, not say too much of something. So it's tough, but I think they all did good. I was more focused on what am I doing wrong in here, what am I doing
Sure.
right. But yeah, I'm happy with things they said and the things I did. So I think it was a good show.
Very cool. A good group of guys there working for Combat Zone. How did you celebrate the win? Did you do anything special?
Um, they have that after party at the Goat across the street. It's a newer restaurant in Manchester. So went over there with some friends, hung out, and then just went back to the hotel room, eat some good food. Tried to sleep. I think I only got like 3 hours of sleep that night, and then we celebrated with a Rob Font baby shower the next morning. So he's got a little one on the way, baby girl coming. I think next month. She should be here any day now, honestly. So yeah, it was a good weekend, man. It was a good weekend.
Very cool. Well, you mentioned Rob. I wanted to ask you a little bit about him and Calvin.
Mhm.
The last time we saw Rob in action was against Marlon Vera. That was a little while ago. That was a UD loss to, Chito, who's really could be fighting for a title at some point soon. Where's his head at right now? I have to imagine he's still as confident as ever with his skill set. And when do you think we can expect to see him back in there?
Yeah, he's doing good, man. Two tough fights that he's coming off of. I think we had that Aldo fight, and he broke his orbital in that fight, had a tough injury, and then that Cheeto fight was pretty soon after that. So it was just two hard fights back to back, and I think what you see in both those fights are glimpses of how good Rob really is. You know what I mean? It's annoying because both those fights were very similar, where Rob is just lighting these guys up. Like it almost you hear like a silence in the apex when these rounds are going on. It's like, oh my god, Rob is this good. He's piecing up Jose Aldo, he's piecing up Cheeto, no resistance, and then it's just that one shot he's getting caught with. So it's a minor adjustment from being this top five guy in the world to being a world champ in my eyes. I think I
Mhm.
do believe he's that good. So now it's just kind of giving him all this time to get his body right. Let him get some rest. He's been so active and busy. So get that rest in. I think he'll be good to go. I think March, April seems fair. Early next year, I think we'll see Rob back.
Okay, well that's good to hear. And obviously the Calvin fight with Arnold Allen,
Yeah.
I think I could speak for everyone in New England. I was just so bummed for him, for you guys, because that I feel like was going to be an absolute firefight. Maybe go the full 5 rounds, and then the
Mhm.
injury happens. What's the timetable for him to be back in action?
Yeah, so it is public now, I guess. So I don't think he's gonna be mad at me for saying it, but he did tear his ACL, which is super unfortunate. Um, I think we'll see him back end of the next year maybe. He's gonna just hammer away that physical therapy. I know he's gonna be out in Vegas. He gets his surgery soon, and then he's gonna go out to Vegas, I think, and do some physical therapy at the PI and just we watched Rob go through this too after the Ricky Simone fight, tore his ACL in that fight, and Rob was fighting 9 months later, but it's because he worked so hard with the physical therapy and he got even better. It was crazy. He got off a surgery and looked even better when he came back because he just watched the film, would still show up to the gym and do what he needs to do. But yeah, it's heartbreaker, man. You never want to see a fight go down like that. He said when he got back to the Airbnb, he was like, "Man, I almost would have rather just got knocked out and been like, you got me." You know what I mean? But there's no like, it's so unsettling on both ends for both guys, really.
For sure. I have to imagine though that his confidence, his mental isn't shaken, and he's right back to the grind. He knows what he has to do to get back to where he wants to be.
Yeah, 100%. I take a lot from him and his mentality, and he always tells us, we control what we can control, and right now, all he can control is hammering that physical therapy and doing what he needs to do to get back as soon as he can. And I know he will, man. He's in good spirits. He was in good spirits after the fight. You know what I mean? It's just frustrating more than anything, but he'll bounce back, man. He's the definition of championship mentality. So he's got that Tom Brady in him, that Bill Belichick. So he'll be back.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Can't wait to see both of them back in the UFC octagon. Now, to go back to your career, I wanted to ask what your work training balance is like now, or are you
Mhm.
doing this full time, or are you still working? What is that balance like for you?
Yeah, I am full-time fighting right now. I started doing that, man, right out of college. I think I've had like one real job, and it was while I was in school, bouncing at a bar, and I did some stuff over the summers. But yeah, I got good support from my girlfriend, her family, my family. I got great sponsors that make sure I can do this. They take care of me really well, and I can do this full time. You know what I mean? And I teach some privates on the side, but yeah, I train 2, 3 times a day, Monday through Saturday. Um, Putting in like 6 hour days, man. This is all I do, and that's a another level of confidence I get going into these fights. You know what I mean? A lot of these guys, they're balancing work, family, training. You know what I mean? This is I wake up in the morning and that's all I'm focused on is training and getting better.
How much better are you now versus when you suffered that lone loss of your pro career?
I think light years ahead, man. I think you got to see a little bit of that in that last fight. That was a tough one. That was a tough fight to take. It was 2 days notice. I just fought the weekend before, so I was being a fat bastard on the couch all weekend. I was in the gym still, but I was definitely not like fight mode. And then I ended up breaking my foot like 40 seconds into that fight, 2 bones in my foot. So that was just a shitty just experience altogether. Bad situation, but I lost a split, went 15 minutes with a kid who's now a CES world champ. But I think I grew so much from it. It almost needed to happen. It took me getting my calf kicked 30 fucking times in a fight for me to start checking kicks. And we knew Lionel was going to bring a heavy leg kick game to our fight, and I made him miss every single one. I checked him. So I think I'm just light years ahead of where I was, man. I'm putting it all together, the hands, the striking. I got some good jujitsu you guys will see at some point, but yeah, just feel like I'm a whole different fighter.
Would you like to run it back and get that loss back and gain a win on your pro column there?
It's tough, you know. We're actually going out tonight together, grabbing a drink. He's actually become a good friend. We've got some training in together. You know, there's always that competitor in you that's like, man, I'd love that one back, but it's so early in our careers. It's like, what do we gain from doing that again? I guess other than the like, I get a chance to get it back. I think we're both just moving on to bigger and better things. And like I said, he's kind of an ally now.
Yeah.
We've been working together, and like I said, I'm hanging out with him later today. So it's kind of weird to go chill with a dude and then be like, yeah, I'm gonna fight you again. So let's see, man. Shit happens, but I don't think that's gonna happen anytime soon or ever again. But who knows, man? Who knows?
Okay. Well, tell Nate I said hello. I've interviewed him a couple of times. He's a great
Good
guy.
guy.
What
Great
did you
guy.
think of that Garib Dubuque fight? How did you score that? Do you think the right guy won?
It's tough. I thought Nate, I thought he squeaked it out 3-2. Um, I think I don't think he'd even be mad at me for saying this. I just don't think he fought his best that night. I think he was hurting that kid to the body so much. I'm trying to replay it in my head, but I remember him putting some gnarly front kicks into that kid's body, and I think he could have done a little more off of that. I think there was some chances to go for the kill and finish him. I know he's been working a lot on his boxing, trying to get his hands going a little more. But Dan's a tough fight because he's got this weird style where it's very like herky jerky, awkward, and he almost brings that out of you. He makes you fight this awkward fight and almost makes you get kind of sloppy with his style. Um, that's fine. I'm definitely interested in, man. Shit, I want that 45 out at CES. I'd love to run it with him. But I do think Nate squeaked it by, but it was close. You know what I mean? They both put on a great fight. Dan's tough as hell. Nate's tough as hell. So but I'm excited to see what the future brings for Nate, and then Dan wants to defend that belt. I'm around.
Would that be the ideal fight for you next if CES wanted to match you in Dubuque for the title?
I'd do it. I'm down. I'm down for whatever, man. I think any guy like that's an ideal fight. You know, I know I'm supposed to be fighting. I think for Combat Zone again in the near future, but shit, a world title sounds nice. So I'm down for whatever.
How does that fight go? How do you and Dubuque how does that end up?
Um, man, I have to watch some more film on him. Like I said, all I've really seen is that fight with Nate. And like I said, he's got that weird style where you got to stay disciplined with him. You can't get away from what you're doing because he wants to pressure you and blitz in with those loopy shots. But man, I think I'm a hard puzzle to figure out. I think now. I actually got that compliment from the dude I just fought. He said he just couldn't figure me out. I think I can just overload him and overwhelm him. And I think on the ground too, like I said, people haven't seen my wrestling. Like they have in the amateurs, but they haven't seen a lot of it in a while. I got some good jujitsu. I know when I get on top of these guys, I'm a pain in the ass to deal with, and I think I can just pick them apart with my hands and everything on the feet too. So it'd be interesting. I think he'd be tough for a little bit. You know, he's durable. He's got a good gas tank on him, but I don't know, man. I just think I bring too much to the table for him.
All right, well, sign me up. I'd love to see that. as your next fight. I'm sure a lot of other MMA fans in the New England area would sign off on that as well. Well, things clearly for you, Tom, are going great. 5-1 now as a pro. The future is bright. 2023. Last question: do you feel like by the end of 2023 we're going to see you maybe in Contender Series or in the UFC? Is that realistic?
Yeah, 100%. I think so. I think this time next year we'll be having this conversation and I'll be in the UFC. It's funny, man, being an amateur, I remember saying to myself, I got it hashtagged on a lot of my posts I can pull up UFC 2023. It's just kind of weird how it's all falling into place. I'm a big believer if you put in the work and keep telling yourself I'm going to change my life and this is when it's going to happen, it'll happen. I really do believe anyone in the sport can get to that level. It's just who's going to put in the work to do it. And that's what we've been doing. So yeah, next year UFC.
I love it, man. Well, it wouldn't surprise me in the least. Always great talking to you, bud. Before we do sign off, I want to give you the floor. Please tell people where they can follow you on social media. If you have anyone to thank, any sponsors, floor is yours.
Yeah, you can follow me at Tom Pags on Instagram, at Tom Pags MMA on Twitter, and just yeah, quick shout out all my sponsors. Knott's Barbershop, it's my number one right there. Trenchless Sewer Repair, BDM Plumbing, SK Auto Body, the Hidden Pig. Um, it's a lot of them. TKO Physical Therapy. Forgetting some of them, man, but you know how it goes. Go on my Instagram, you'll see all of them there. I post about them a lot. Hard Body Meals, doing my meal prep and stuff, all these guys. So can't do it without them. You know, they make this possible. Like I said, I get to do this as a full-time job because of them. So super grateful for them and keep an eye out for another fight coming soon.